Welcome back to the Hoot Sports Podcast, presented by Nightwatch and Eyewitness News now. I'm Ryan Spees, joined by Aiden Giampaluca, Daniel Flaherty.
What's going on?
Episode 9. Aiden, ask me how long it's been.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. When was the last episode? Like late May, early June?
It was with Coach Evans.
That was a good one. Shout out Coach Evans. Let's get started with some local sports. A little Park Ridge sports update. So the Owls football team improved to 3-0. Flats, thoughts on the football team? How they're looking?
Dude, 3-0. 3 impressive wins. 2 in dominant fashion. 1 over Heights. Good opponent. Season, a little bit of a pause. They're coming back, though. This squad is looking strong. I do have to give a shout-out to Matthew Manning. The kid is showing out and playing. I know he's a viewer. They're looking to repeat that state chip, guys. I think it's possible.
Obviously, we're not able to actually go to these games. Some games that we are able to go to is the girls' soccer games and the boys' soccer games. The girls' soccer team has improved themselves to 6-0. Crazy, they're off to a very hot start. Boys' soccer, not as hot, but, they're looking to turn it around.
Shout out Chris Huba.
Our tennis is doing well, too. Well, in baseball news, the Dodgers won the World Series. That was last night, as of when we were recording. It was their first title since 1988. That year, that was the year Gibson hit the homer off Eckersley, the walk-off homer in Game 1. Corey Seager, their shortstop, won World Series MVP. Fun fact, he was the first player to win the MVP in both the League Championship Series and the World Series since Madison Bumgarner did it in 2014 with the Giants. Everyone knew they were going to go far in the postseason. They were dominant. What was their record? I think they were 43-17. So they dominated everyone.
Shout out Mookie Betts, man. I can actually appreciate him now.
See, people might think as a Red Sox fan, I'm salty to see him on another team. I'm not. He's still my favorite player. So let's talk about this interesting situation that happened. Blake Snell, starting pitcher for the Rays, he was absolutely dealing. What was he through? 5 innings. He had 9 strikeouts.
Crazy.
And this dude, Kevin Cash, decides to pull him.
One hit.
Not very cash money.
And this, that was not a very cash money move by you, Kevin Cash. So this puzzled a lot of people because a few days earlier, if not a day earlier, he left Tyler Glasnow in for 112 pitches. And then he takes out Blake Snell after 73.
Where's the consistency, Kevin?
It's quite a puzzling move.
I'm so mad, too.
So a lot of people saying analytics, and this is the reason why analytics are kind of doing too much. But I mean, come on, the guy had 70 pitches. Come on, Game 6.
Well, it was a dumb move.
Winner go home.
I could see where he's coming from if he thought the Rays were to win that game, and he would be able to use Snell again in Game 7.
But
at this point, you got to throw everything you have out there and then just use what you have later if you win Game 6.
Yeah, and I remember, I was watching, there was a post-interview with Mookie, right? And, the interviewer asking Mookie's I don't know why they did that. He was admitting it after they won, so.
Yeah. So, sticking with the Dodgers, let's talk about Mr. Justin Turner. So, are you guys, familiar with the situation?
Wait, yeah, didn't he test, his results back in, the 8th inning or something, so they pulled him?
In the 2nd inning of this game, they had his results from the day before Game 6. And those results came back inconclusive. But then, later in the game, around the 6th or 7th inning, his results from that same day came back positive. So they pulled him in the 8th inning. From then on, he was in the clubhouse by himself. And then after they won, they let him come out and celebrate with the team. What do you think of this move, letting him celebrate?
I mean, at that point, he was already in the game for 7 innings at that point. So it was what was going to change, I guess.
But, I mean, he was around, he was, with his wife. He shared a kiss with her. He was also around, kids, other families, so he was putting them in jeopardy. And he was also, in this picture, you can't see it, he was sitting next to Dave Roberts, who is a cancer survivor, who's obviously more compromised than other people. So that could be a little dangerous. It's definitely a questionable move on the part of the Dodgers.
He wore a mask.
He was wearing a mask, but he took it off for the pictures.
How unfortunate is that? He's kind of a veteran for them. He's been one of their best players for a while. I think he's their postseason leader in hits. And then 7th inning of the game that they win the World Series, he tests positive for coronavirus and isn't there for when they win the World Series. So you can't. I feel you can't even write that.
So, July 18th, Mr. Andreessen tweeted at us We have baseball this Thursday. Who is your shortened season World Series pick for the 2020 World Series? So we said Dodgers over Twins in 6. Walker Buehler wins MVP. Mr. A said Rays over Dodgers in 7. Now, we had the winner and the number of games, but we didn't have the MVP. So who do you think won this argument here?
We picked the winner.
We got it. We picked the winner.
Right.
Walker Buehler didn't win MVP, but he did. He was really good in the World Series.
Did well. Kershaw kind of lifted that playoff curse.
NBA update. Flats, you want to take this?
Sure. This already happened, of course, but the Lakers did beat the Heat in the NBA Finals, won their 17th. Ryan might be sad that they tied the Celtics for all-time lead, even though most of the Celtics
even more.
Most of the Celtics are covered in coats of dust, but that's besides the point.
Aiden, thoughts? Big LeBron guy?
Big LeBron guy. I thought it was good, too. I like everything that happened with Kobe and everything. I think it was a good way to kind of pay respects to him with the win.
So, as for the NBA returning, it's been reported that they're looking to return on December 22nd, which is a lot earlier than people thought. Most people thought Martin Luther King Day, which is like mid-January. So this is definitely a lot earlier. I know Danny Green, who plays for the Lakers, said LeBron would probably sit out the first month of the season just because he wanted to be with his family or, just get back in shape. But it's definitely like a concern for a lot of veterans who, take a little more time to recover.
Yeah. Really quick turnaround.
I don't know. I feel like nothing that's first reported ever actually happens.
How many games? Like 72, you said?
Yeah, 72, which is only 10 less, which is, I would
that's
think
pretty
that.
Close.
All right, next topic.
Eagles update. They played last Sunday, and they beat the Giants 22-21. I think the last 5 minutes of that fourth quarter really proved the Eagles could actually function as a team. I mean, they were down by 11. There was 21-10, and they actually came back and won, even though they failed 2 2-point attempts. Got to work on those. But Carson Wentz actually had a pretty good game. He had over 300 passing yards. Just 359 yards. He looked actually good for those last few minutes of the game. I mean, Deshaun Jackson, though, first came back and he gets hurt already. I don't get why they had him receiving the kick. I think they should give Wentz more of a chance. We don't have an offensive coordinator either, so it would help if anyone other than Doug Peterson was making the calls on the side. Yeah, that's what I think the Eagles need to do. I'd say pause on Jalen Hurts and keep Carson Wentz for now.
And I know you said they're looking promising, but one thing you failed to mention is that this was against the Giants. So, speaking of dysfunctional New York football team.
Where would I even start? Winless on the season so far. Not really even showing signs of competency in most of these games. Sam Darnold's been the starter. He's been out a little bit. Joe Flacco started a few games. He didn't do anything else. Adam Gase is the worst head coach I've ever seen. You guys no idea what he's doing. He's going to get fired. I don't know why they don't just fire him right now. It's disgusting. I can't think of any other adjectives other than that. They lost this week, the Bills, 18-10, without letting up a touchdown. They let 6 field goals, and they lost. They find new ways to lose. It's impressive. Sam he's been struggling. There's been a lot of injuries, a lot of players gone. Le'Veon Bell, they cut. They're just getting rid of everyone. They cut Le'Veon Bell. They traded Steve McClendon, who's a good D tackle. There's been a couple more. Jamal Adams. That's in the offseason. Jamal Adams. That was a good trade, though, in my opinion. They got a lot of value for a guy who wanted to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, usually when guys want to leave, teams aren't going to offer as much because they know that you're trying to trade them. Jets actually got some good value out of that. Oh man, Robbie Anderson left in free agency. He was one of their best wide receivers. He was a good asset for Sam. He's on the Panthers, tearing it up like most Jets players do when they leave. Honestly, at this point, you might be hearing tank for Trevor a lot. I'm so conflicted with that. I don't know. You watch Sam play, Darnold. You can see what he can do when he has like a line, when he has someone to throw to, when he has some time in the pocket, or even scrambling out of the pocket. He definitely has talent. A lot of Jets fans just want to move on and take Trevor Lawrence. He's kind of seen as a can't-miss prospect. He's super good. Clemson. He's won national championships. Great stats. Kind of pretty good at everything. Great hair. I don't know. I can. So first, we need to get the first pick. If this happen, it's likely they might go 0-16. They have the Chiefs this week. They might lose by like 80. Probably gonna lose by 80. But I don't know. They could trade down and just build around Sam. They could take Trevor and Just let him take over, move on from Sam. In my opinion, it's a little quick. First, you just gotta get rid of Adam Gase. He's terrible. He's ruined Sam Darnold, in my opinion. But and as you see there, will the suffering ever end? Will it ever end? I don't think it will.
Sounds like no. Now, I'll talk about the Pats. I have no idea what's happening with the team right now. Well, I do. They just stink. Last year, everyone was saying Tom Brady, he didn't have any weapons. That team started out well. They started out hot, but as the season went on, they were kind of exposed, showing that, Brady was aging and that he couldn't just find anyone anymore. And then that was a big question coming into this season. If Brady couldn't do anything with them, like what makes anyone think that a lesser quarterback could? And then at the start of the season, people were thinking, yeah, looks like Cam can do that. But now it's like, no, he just can't at all. Because in his first 4 games, he was good, he was decent. In his last 2 games, he has like a 12 passer rating and 5 interceptions, which is just not good. To answer the first question, buyers or sellers at the deadline, I have no idea. They're probably going to be buyers. I heard they're looking to trade for a wide receiver, maybe Will Fuller, maybe John Ross, who's looking. They're both looking to get contracts at the end of the year. Someone to give Cam someone to throw to. Is he the answer? Also, I don't know. It's too hard to tell at this point. So, college football, Flats, what do you think about the season so far?
It's college football is one of the sports where the crowd is usually plays such a big factor. Obviously, you don't see that much. Student sections are crazy. It's usually what makes it so much fun to watch. The passion that's missing, but I mean, football is football, man. There's already been so many good games, so many good teams. Obviously, been a little weird. Big Ten just returned this week, so like teams like SEC, ACC, kind of Big Ten had like a Big 12 had like a head start, kind of. They've already played like 4 or 5 games, but I'm a big college football guy. I'm excited it's back. And should I get into my playoff predictions now? Because This team right here, Ohio State, is pretty good at football. Justin Fields, he knows how to throw footballs pretty well. So I got them as one of my teams. Alabama, get this, Notre Dame, they're going to beat Clemson. Mark my word. That's not bias. And then lastly, Oklahoma State. I think that they're best team in that Big 12. They're still undefeated. They're really the only team with a real chance. I think they're going to run the table and take that 4 or 3 spot.
Now, here's the thing. We talked about it a little bit before, and I was giving you my answers, but I don't know why. Something just changed in my head. I'm going to have both Clemson and Notre Dame in this, and then I'm going to have Ohio State and Bama. Here's the thing. Clemson, they're such a dominant team. It's like, oh, you lost to them. It's like no big deal. Because if they're the best team and you lose to them in the ACC championship, like you can still make the playoff if you're number 2 or number 3. So I feel like it wouldn't knock you down that much, especially if Notre Dame has a good game, but they lose like down to the wire. I think they could still make the playoff. I think that'll be interesting to see them back in it now that they're in a conference.
Also, I want to mention Wisconsin. If you're watching, what are you guys doing? They've had like 18 COVID cases. Their first 2 quarterbacks tested positive for COVID, I think. And they're like, no, I think the starter's injured. The second, third strings have COVID. They're on to the 4th string. They're obviously not going to play this week. They have like 18 guys for COVID and like the coach maybe.
What string was that Graham?
He was 2nd string. He was originally he was really good.
It's like,
but
COVID. Sorry.
He's not good at social distancing. Clearly,
been out for a month. Yeah. All right, so make sure to DM us or tweet us with suggestions for guests or topics, whatever you want to see, whoever you want to see. Hit us up at the Hoot PRHS. That's both on Twitter and Instagram. We like to monitor the DMs or the mentions so we can get back to whoever we can, just so we can, interact with the fans, give you that experience.
We love you guys.
Whoever you are.
We care.
Yes, we care. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of The Hoot.
Hopefully things are smoother next time technologically. We'll be back and better than ever.
Internet issues today. Could get better, could get worse. Whatever happens.
Yeah, we're at number 10
for
now.
the ride.
Hopefully you like the new format too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hooters.
Ouch.